All right then. Virat Kohli goes down the ground. Virat Kohli goes out of the ground. Please edit that last bit out. Not exactly out of the ground, but along the ground to play that beautiful shot, to get that 100 and to make India proud. What a game that really was. India versus Pakistan last night at Dubai's International Stadium. But today we are going to talk about India, no, not India, South Africa versus Australia. We are going to decode India game as well. We are going to keep the theme very, very India centric. But there's a big game coming up, Australia versus South Africa. And we are going to decode that. We're going to talk about that. We are going to analyze that as well. Welcome to the ICC Champions Trophy special with the Free Press Journal. My name is Pratham, and joining me now, my colleague Suraj joins me from the sports desk. Hi, Suraj. How
Hello,
are you
Pratham.
doing?
How are you doing?
Also, Chandresh
I'm
Narayanan, sir,
good.
the cricket expert, author, as well as sports commentator. Welcome, sir. Welcome on the Champions Trophy special with the FPJ Sports Desk.
Thanks a lot for having me.
What a game! What a game indeed. And King Kohli, what an innings that really was. Has he resurrected himself? What has happened last night is quite magical. Would you agree with that? How would you assess the game that we witnessed last night?
Yeah, I think it was a fantastic effort by Virat Kohli last night at the Dubai International Stadium. One of the best knocks that I've seen. Very calculated. Not one of Virat's best knocks because the 100 was coming after a while in one day cricket. And there have been question marks hanging about his form for a while. So to see him shepherd the Indian batting lineup in a critical chase was interesting. Was also a relief for a lot of the Indian cricket fans because they saw Virat Kohli at his very best once again, measured yet very composed, and was very well scripted chase. I think it was a very well scripted chase because it could have been tricky when India lost Rohit early, but Virat hung around and managed the chase very well, and really strung two very crucial partnerships with first with Shubman Gill and then with Shreyas Iyer, and really shut Pakistan out of the contest. It couldn't have come at a better time for India and for Virat Kohli in that sense.
Indeed. Suraj, what are your sentiments? What thoughts are running across your head as you talk about yesterday's game, last night's game?
It was purely a Virat Kohli magic. I mean, before this game, like critics were talking about his poor form, but yesterday, that knock that he played silenced the critics. It was a very special knock. Once again, reminded me his about his knock which he played against Pakistan at T20 World Cup match in Melbourne, where though the target was pretty less. I mean, Pakistan didn't bat up to the potential, thanks to bowlers who did a brilliant job with the ball. But it was really a magical performance from Kohli, and I think this will be remembered forever.
Indeed, indeed. So, this, sir, please tell us what does the margin with which we have won this game? I mean, that margin, what does it signify therefore? You have 6 wickets in hand, you finish the game 8 overs early. What does it tell? People were like, okay, it was not a nail biter exactly, therefore not exactly interesting. But in my opinion, in my eyes, winning is far more important, especially against Pakistan, than having that thriller that we all anticipated.
Yeah, I think if you look at the gap between the two sides, it's only increased over the last 10 years or 12 years. And I think it's going to increase further because Pakistan, much like West Indies and Sri Lanka, have now become a T20 side. And the pity for Pakistan cricket fans is that they can't even compete in T20 cricket with the other sides, with the top sides. And I think Pakistan, West Indies, and Sri Lanka are living examples of if you allow your cricket to be based on T20 cricket, it's only going to go towards ruin. You
True.
see all three sides struggling in test matches. You see all three sides struggling in one day cricket, even though Pakistan can claim to have won one day series in South Africa and Australia. But
Mhm.
I think that the problem with Pakistan cricket is that they spend too much time playing meaningless bilateral white ball cricket, which gives them an inflated sense of self. I think and they start celebrating a bit too soon because of that. Other sides used white ball ODI series, especially to experiment. In Pakistan, they can't even think about experimenting in such bilateral white ball series. So it doesn't allow them to develop bench strength, especially in one day cricket or in T20 cricket separately. Uh,
True.
so even if they're playing Zimbabwe or Nepal or Namibia or Nagaland or some other team, they will still look to play their best 11, which is a fallacy.
Mm.
India doesn't field Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma and Bumrah against Zimbabwe, but Pakistan will field their best 11. And I think that's where Pakistan cricket has regressed in the last 5 to 6 years. And they have not developed characters, plus the instability in the board, instability in the coaching setup. All these things doesn't help matters at all.
Is it a failure of? Is it a cumulative effect that we are talking about? Is a failure of management, failure of the captain of the side, the way it is handled, the way it is organized, and for a long time we have been talking about Pakistan side and how they have been struggling with getting their coaches right. Now, when you see the team lineup, the lineup does not look solid even on the paper.
Yeah, if you see very closely, I wouldn't call it a failure of the system as such. Not too long, we are still India as a cricketing nation. We are
Hmm.
still struggling as a test team. We shouldn't lose sight of the fact. We shouldn't become like
True.
Pakistan and start celebrating as if we are good in all three formats. No, we are not. In Test
Hmm.
cricket, we are very ordinary right now, and we have to be very honest about it. We've lost 6 Test matches out of 8 in the last 5 months.
Hmm. Hmm.
So before we start pointing fingers at Pakistan, we need to look at ourselves as well. I would say, I think more than anything, it is what I say is a failure because of the fact that they have based their cricket on T20. They are far worse off than India, but that doesn't make India as a very superior cricketing nation in all three formats.
Hmm.
We may, if we play Pakistan in a test match tomorrow, we might end up beating them by an innings. But that is not the point. The point is that India has to go a long way in Test cricket now because we have struggled in the last 5 6 months, and we are yet to win a Test series in South Africa, and we are yet to win a Test series in England since 2007. So I don't think we can. We should be the last ones to be talking about management failure and all these things. Australians can talk about it because they won everywhere in the world. We haven't, so we shouldn't be talking about Test cricket as such. We should only be focusing on this particular issue that we have on hand with Pakistan. Is the fact that they pay too much attention to bilateral ODI and T20 series, and they don't like mix and match. And I think at some times they also get pulled in to do different things, pulled in to pick their best 11s at all times because of maybe pressure of social media.
Also restricting our discussion to the ICC Champions Trophy. Of course, how lethal do you think India is going to be, given the form the team is in, given the form that Virat Kohli is back in the side with that kind of form, and consecutive wins against Bangladesh and now against Pakistan? How do you reckon of that? I mean,
I think India will be challenged by the sides on the other side and also by New Zealand because there are a few gaps in the Indian setup. I think Shami's fitness and form is a grave cause for concern. You can't afford to be loose in your approach like Shami was yesterday in the first few overs. It was
hmm,
a side like Pakistan which did not make India pay, but better sides will make India pay for the loose
hmm,
bowling. The number of extras that India bowled in the first few overs, any other side would have made India pay for it, but they didn't make India pay for it. So India needs to be wary of that. Fielding is a major cause for concern for India. I think they're dropping catches like crazy. So that's going to be a concern. There are too many slow movers on the field. So you need to hide a lot of them on the field, and on a big field like the Dubai outfield, that's a difficult task. So I think that these are some of the issues that India are grappling with, and the batting was tested in the first match. Second match, not so much. That's a worry that India will have because they'll have things to sort out before the crunch matches. From now on, it's about winning two games for India: semi-final and final if they have to be Champions Trophy winners. The
So
final game is just the
before
final
we
game
let
is
you
just
go,
like a dress rehearsal for India in that sense because they more or less sealed their place in the semi-final.
before we let you go, sir, I must ask you this: Australia versus South Africa, two strong teams. Australia, the way they played was purely magical. South Africa, we know the tag. I don't want to use that tag because it's not final yet. But how do you see that game? Is it going to be the clash of the Titans, or is it going to be again one side completely dominating the other?
I think it will be an interesting contest. The fact that both the sides have come off two very confident victories into the champion into this match will make for very interesting battle. And I am for one looking forward to this contest because it will be on like a what you call is a road, the
Yeah,
the Pindi Cricket Stadium. It's a flat pitch,
yeah.
a small stadium. I think plenty of runs will be scored. Australia will be high on confidence, and so will South Africa. So I think it will be a even contest. Though I somehow feel that South Africa has an edge going into this match.
All right then. Who are your top three? I mean, players for this particular contest. Are there any names that you're looking at specifically? These are our choices from Australia as well as South Africa. These are the players we are counting on. We are riding our money on, so to speak.
I
Who are
think
your
I'll
favorites?
be I'll be looking at Josh Inglis and I'll be looking at Steve Smith. I think these two guys on the Australian side will be very interesting to watch. From the South Africa side, I am pretty keen to look at how someone like a Ryan Rickelton performs for South Africa because I think he looks to be in red hot form. And if Hendrik Klaasen is declared fit to play, there's nothing better than that for South Africa in this tournament.
You can't talk about the result unless the last ball is played, as they said. But who do you think is going to be who's going to be having an edge over the other team?
I just told you, I think South Africa will have the edge going into this contest.
Thank you so much for your analysis, sir. Thank you so much for your opinion.
Thank you.
Appreciate always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Suraj, I bring you in at this point. Look at these teams. I mean, we'll take a look at the respective size, the squads as well. That is Australia's squad. You have Steve Smith right there leading from the front, and then there you have really good names there. Travis Head. You're looking at Josh Inglis. What a fabulous player he is, and he's shown his prowess in the last contest as well. You have Glenn Maxwell, and I mean, look at this side. It looks like a complete concrete, solid style, raging to go. Suraj.
Pratham, Pratham, the last time when we had a chat, I had said that, even though Australia might lose a series or two, but they really step up their game when it comes to ICC tournaments. And we witnessed it when they faced England in the previous match. I mean, that was a huge total they had to chase. Steve Smith did not get runs. Manus Labuschagne did not get big runs. Travis had failed. And it was Josh Inglis who saved the day. Even Alex Carey made a significant contribution. So, like I said, when the chips are down, despite the chips being down, Australia they don't give it so easily. They know how to fight. They know how to come back in a major ICC tournaments.
Let's take a look at the South African squad as well. And we know, I mean, the kind of lineup they have is equally impressive. But in comparison, when you compare this side with that of the Australian side, do you do you think that this team looks not as confident or as solid as the Aussies do?
When I look at the squad, actually South Africa looks a better squad on paper compared to
Mhm.
Aussies. Because Australia's main bowlers are not playing the tournament, and that
Yeah.
was witnessed in the first match. The way the runs were leaked by the bowlers. I understand the had a very batting surface, and again the upcoming match in Pindi will be like a batting paradise for both the teams. But
Mhm.
South Africa has a good batting lineup besides a strong bowling unit.
Absolutely, but given the fact that the way Australia has played in the last game, my goodness, you cannot make 350 plus in just 47 overs, 3 overs to spare, and literally pull that match out of the definite clause of defeat. And the way that they played was simply phenomenal.
Absolutely. I mean, there are no words to speak the way they played the last match. It was absolutely brilliant. I think for once, even I thought that the run chase would be difficult and it will be England, who are going to win. But Australia just performed brilliantly. I mean, they just blew away my mind. Despite their big guns not scoring runs, some of the other players just put their hands up and say, we are there. We'll guide the team, will take them to victory. And that is exactly what happened. On the other hand, South Africa, they had a pretty easy outing against Afghanistan. And it was, like very
No
predictable
way.
considering
Yeah.
there's a huge difference between the quality of both the teams. So again, I'm like expecting a very exciting contest and a match where once again runs will be scored in plenty and the bowlers will be tested.
Absolutely. Also, people must be anticipating what we have to say about the current scenario, the match that is unfolding right now. What is your analysis? How do you look at it? The way Bangladesh is playing. Uh, of course, not many people are expecting Bangladesh to be there in the top eight, but the way they have played in the last couple of years, the way they have consolidated, and the way they have kept themselves composed, uh, this unit deserved a place in the top eight. What do you have to talk about? What do you have to discuss about the match that is on as we speak?
Well, once again, New Zealand certainly started as the favorites. I mean, they won their first game against Pakistan quite easily, and once again, they are expected to win against Bangladesh, who struggled against India in their previous match. And
Absolutely.
just to add, the like despite Bangladesh making a good start, they've lost couple of wickets. So New Zealand certainly have made the inroads into the Bangladesh middle order. So, like I said, it will be the real test against the Kiwi bowlers, and because lots at stake for Bangladesh in this match.
Truly, absolutely. Uh, how significant the last victory is going to be for Australia? I mean, winning that big and finishing that game with 3 overs to spare. Uh, is that victory going to play on the minds of the Proteas as well on the South African team? I ask this because the margin is so huge. The way they played that game is going to affect their game of action, their plan, or do you think that it's always going to be a fresh start when a new match is played?
See, it's always going to be a fresh start, when you play another match. But again, I mean, the performance that Australia produced in their previous match, I'm very sure that will be playing a little bit on South Africa's mind as well. Even though South Africa won their match pretty comfortably, playing against Australia is a different ball game altogether because Australia, like I said, in the ICC events are pretty dominating, and the last match was a classic example of what you can expect them throughout the group stage.
Let's look at the top three players from each squad that we have selected and let's find out why we have selected them. So these are the name Adam Zampa, Travis Head, and you have Maxwell. In South Africa's column, you have Rickleton, you have also Bavuma there and Rabada. These are, the usual suspects, as we say, in good sense. So how do you reckon of this selection? Do you want to replace a name or two from each squad, or do you want to stick to these names, Suraj?
I would want to make changes in the lineup that we have on the screen right now. While I'll keep Travis Head, I would bring in Josh Inglis for the way he performed in the last match, and Adam Zampa. Certainly, I would like to keep him as well for the fact that he's one of the most experienced bowlers in the Australian bowling unit right now. For the South African side, Ryan Rickelton, he played his first, he's playing his first ICC tournament. The first match he played, and he scored a century. It was pretty impressive, I would say. So yeah, he's the guy I'm looking forward to against Australia as well. Temba Bavuma has to score a captain. He needs to lead from the front. But again, instead of him, I would pick David Miller, known for his finishing skills at the end. And once again, with the kind of attack that Australia has, I see David Miller, pounding runs in the last 10 overs. And of course, I'll stick to Kagiso Rabada, their frontline pacer, their pace spearhead. Always gives vital breakthroughs at the start of the innings. So yeah, that's my pick for the upcoming game.
How precariously things are placed now, Suraj, given the dynamics between the two teams. I mean, some games have been played, much more action is about to unfold. But given the statistics, the number game, how do you think? What do you know for sure? Who's on the brink of extinction and who have crossed the line and who are absolutely safe, all set to enter the knockout stage?
See, Group B, it's going to be pretty tight, according to me. England have lost the opening game, but they still have two games in hand and they can spring in a surprise. Again,
Correct.
South Africa Australia game, according to me, will be very crucial. That is because the team that loses will have to ensure that they lose by less runs or less wickets for that matter, because the net run rate will be really crucial. So, I expect a very high scoring encounter. So, yeah, I mean, it can be anybody's game. It is too early to predict as to who will, win and who will go to the top.
Does that hold true only for Group B, or do you think Group A is equally uncertain, or do you think there are clear cut distinction as far as Group A is concerned? Because the way it has played out for these teams in Group A, I think Group A we can talk about definites there as opposed to Group B. Your assessment, Suraj?
See, Group A pretty much looks, clear as to who will be going into the next round. India, after winning two consecutive matches, have one foot in the
Comprehensively, comprehensively.
comprehensively for the matter. So they have one foot in the semi-final. And New Zealand again, once they win this match, I certainly see Pakistan getting eliminated, and I mean even Bangladesh for that matter, standing no chance unless they spring in surprise. They win their last game against Pakistan by a huge margin. Run rate coming into play, but I mean, putting that calculations aside, I think India and New Zealand are clear favorites to go through from Group A, with India topping the table.
India advantage because they're going to be playing only in Dubai throughout this tournament, as opposed to these teams. The conditions are going to change, of course. Once you play in Pakistan, then you set your foot in Dubai. The pitch is not as quick as it is anticipated. In fact, it's very very slow. The ball doesn't rise up, doesn't come on the bat very easily, and with pace, as opposed to the conditions in, say, Karachi or Lahore in Pakistan. So those teams who have played in Pakistan, it is going to be difficult for them to be able to adjust to the situations in Dubai. And in that regard, because India have played all their games in Dubai, two of them, advantage India.
Definitely advantage India for the fact that they are well settled unit right there. They have
Hmm.
acclimatized to the conditions. They have played 2 matches. They have won both their matches pretty comprehensively. So it's going to be, I mean, advantage India for sure. Yes, like I said, the teams that are playing in Pakistan coming to Dubai, they will. I don't think it will take time for them to acclimatize. But
Hmm.
again, what kind of surface will be, there for that particular match? It is too difficult to say right now.
A key question I just popped on my screen. There we go. Team strength. South Africa's bowling versus Australia's batting. Is that a fair contest there?
Um, I think it's a bit of unfair contest considering that Australia has a little
You
bit
think
of
it's
their
unfair?
bowling.
You think it's
Sorry.
unfair? You think it is
It
unfair?
is unfair because Australia has a little bit of like the bowling lineup is a little weak with their frontline bowlers not around. South Africa, on the other hand, their batting, I mean, they have power hitters, they have players who can easily, score runs, rotate singles, they can play big shots, and like they have a couple of all rounders who can make an impact. The bowling department looks solid. So yeah, I personally feel it's a little bit of mismatch. But again, cricket is a very unpredictable game. You never know. Maybe Australian bowlers might want to step up in the match against South Africa and deliver a brilliant performance.
Suraj, in your opinion, who is likely to spring a surprise, given the fact that this pitch is in Dubai is not exactly, it's not a pacey track. It's a track that is uneven. It's unpredictable. So in that sense, who can come in handy, perhaps with, can roll their arm over, can show their prowess in terms of spin, or in terms of pace as well, bringing in those variations, angling in. So in that sense, who do you think can, is an unsung hero at the moment, but can spring a surprise?
See, right now, what I feel is for Australia, Adam Zampa will be really crucial. If the pitch provides a turn for the spinners, Adam Zampa can be really handy. Plus, they have Glenn Maxwell who can also chip in with wickets. As for the pace department, like we saw in the last match, Ben Washes and Spencer Johnson weren't that effective. So most of the burden will be on Adam Zampa to get wickets for him.
And look at the
And
total number.
in
Yeah, yeah.
and in
Sorry.
case of yeah, and in case of South Africa, I think they have a good bowling unit, like I mentioned earlier as well. The spin department, they have Shamsi and Keshav Maharaj. Keshav Maharaj did really well. So I think going into this fixture, they would want to play an unchanged 11. While in Australia's case, also I see them playing an unchanged 11.
Haven't seen this beautiful balance between any other team than it is between Australia and South Africa. What I mean by that is explained by this screen that we all can see. Total number of matches 110. Australia win 51, South Africa win 55. So both are 50 plus. There is the margin is not that big. The gap between them is not that big. Tied three, no result one. So what does it therefore say about these two teams? The way they clash, the way they play their game, especially when they play against each other.
Uh, I mean, when they play against each other, the clash has always been an epic and intense. They fight for every delivery, every run. Both team have like some great fielders, so we should see them taking some great catches. Again, the record speaks for itself that South Africa has a slight edge over Australia. But I would keep these records aside, and I would talk about their current form, and both teams look really great in the current form. So it should be a great contest to watch.
How crucial a toss is going to be? Do you think winning first should directly mean that the team who wins the toss elects to bat first, or do you think they should be cautious, look at the conditions on that day, considering the humidity or moisture or temperature, and then make that call whether to bowl or to bat?
See, Pratham, like I always say, like the batting bowling will always depend on the pitch conditions. So right now it is too early to say what kind of conditions it would be, but in Pindi, it is clearly it is known for a batting friendly surface. So if once again we have a batting friendly surface, so there are high chances that both teams might look to strengthen their batting over bowling. So as of now, I don't want to predict anything. I'll rather wait for tomorrow to see what kind of surface we get and how crucial the toss would be.
How crucial the toss would be. Wait and watch is the name of the game, as they say, and wait and watch will definitely be because Australia versus South Africa, the clash of the titans, as they say, two big teams, two promising, concrete, solid units are going to face off, and we are going to see how it all unfolds. And we are expecting all those big magical moments as Australia take on South Africa tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching us live, and we'll see you tomorrow as we predict another game. And we are going to decode, analyze, perhaps probe into also what exactly happened, or rather, what is happening. Because when we join tomorrow, that game will be unfolding, right, Suraj? So we are going to look at that game as well, and the contest that is going to unfold the day after tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us on this special edition, which is ICC Champions Trophy special with the Free Press Journal Sports Desk. This is Pratham signing off. Thanks for watching.